whatever. We called it Mary Jane.
You still do. If you're an undercover cop, you call it Mary Jane. Hi, do you have any Mary Jane for sale? Um, not for you. Uh, no, yeah, but no, but anyway, that kid named Hunter, the the aunt, his aunt is all uh, like, you know what? You need a nickname. We're gonna start calling you Hunt. He's like, oh, I love Hunt. Oh, I love Hunt so much. Hunt, Hunt, Hunt. Oh, I love Hunt. And then he's like, okay, we need to find you a new nickname already. Like, it's like, geez, like that is fucking funny. I don't know how I'm gonna make that into a joke, but even just saying that, like, just like, recalling, like, a details to an event. It's like, oh shit, you're telling a story without even knowing that you're telling a story. It could be like one of those fucking like 15 or 45-second stories, and you're like, oh shit, I told a story without being super boring for fucking 5 minutes with no punchlines. So it's just like, that's what's the great thing about the short stories. Oh, it's like 15 seconds they had to a punchline. I was like, yeah, but I told a story. So shut up. So
You know
but
what you
anyway,
could you know what you could do is you could start out with his name being really long and then you shorten it and then you go, you know what? I think I'll make you an H. You're gonna be H, silent H.
oh my god, yes, silent but deadly. Um sorry, it's a fart joke. I have this new joke that it's so fucked up. It's just talking about, I'm telling the audience about how fucking hard stand-up comedy is. It's this hard. I did a show the other night and everybody killed. Everybody killed. Every fucking buddy killed on the show. Everybody. But guess what? You know who had the biggest fucking laugh of the night? The fucking guy in the audience in the third row who farted against the plastic chair during the show. He got the biggest laugh of the night. He got an
Oh,
applause break. It was like, dude, it was so fucked up. There's a guy there who was headlining the show who like had like a TV credit. Everybody else there, all the years of all of us combined, of our experiences doing hell gigs and doing writing sessions with people who turn out to be pieces of shit burnouts that don't matter. It's just like, how I would do the joke. It's like, who gives a shit how you do the joke? Why the fuck am I doing this with these people that have never even done comedy before and they're thinking about doing comedy? I don't want their fucking input. Their input doesn't matter. It's like, I'd rather like have the input of an open micer who's been doing it for like 2 months. And then like, because at least they're doing it. They're out on the grind. It's like they busted that fear cherry of going on stage. That's the hardest part for the first time. Getting on
good
stage the
for you.
first time, that's I don't know. I mean, for me, it was like that was harder than any fucking paid gig I've done or any non-paid gig I've done. That was like, oh god, I don't even know how the fuck I did it. I'm just like, such a wuss when it comes to like confronting my fears. And I was like, oh man, now I do it like every day, and it's just like, oh, no big deal, no big deal. Somebody asked me to read a eulogy recently, and I was like, oh, well, I'm devastatingly sad about this event that happened. He passed away from cancer, and he was like a good guy. And so I was just, but like as far as like reading in front of like 100 people, 150 people, 200 people, 300 people, 400 people, however many people are going to come to the funeral, I'm just like, okay, I've done shows bigger than this. I wasn't nervous then. I'm not nervous now. I was just nervous about like, I just didn't want to like slur my words and make them unintentional. Like you just get and then see it. Like, it's just like, so I didn't want to like, oh fuck, do I sound fucked up? Because like I was so nervous tonight. I was more nervous for that eulogy than I was for any gig. And I didn't get paid to do that eulogy. That eulogy was like from the heart. I don't know how you get paid to do a eulogy. That's really fucked up. Like I'm gonna charge you money to tell you something sentimental about the dead. But then
You know
again, if I
what's
was
fucked up about a funeral is when a Jew, I'm Jewish, when Jews go to a funeral, like somebody will put, this is an old joke, when somebody goes up and go, oh, Sam, you were such a good friend, puts $50 down. And then the next Jew goes up and writes $100 check and takes the 50 cash, uses it to cash a check.
did you write that joke?
No, it's an old joke.
I was like, dude, that's fucking brilliant. That
Isn't that
that
it's
that
like one of those
probably
old.
kills. No, I thought you wrote it. You're doing it on stage, or this is an old joke that you still do, and an old joke that you used to do. Or then because then I'm like, okay, hold on, we need to figure out why. Oh my god, that was so fucking witty.
I mean,
It's just
I could quote, I'm Jewish, and like the old joke goes, and then tell it.
I mean, Jewish or no Jewish, everyone appreciates a good Jew joke. You know, whether you wrote it, you're Jewish or not. Like fucking, there was this big controversy with Carlos Mencia stealing material and Artie Shafir. There's no being the original writer for this Mexican joke about like, okay, you're gonna deport all the Mexicans. Well, who's gonna build that wall? And like, it's just like he's like, how could you, a Jew, come up with such a joke about Mexicans? Because I fucking wrote it. And it's just like, oh wow, yeah, that's fucked up. It's like he said, she said, but they're both he said, he said. So either way, it's just like, and they're both saying the exact same thing except from the opposite spectrum. I didn't know, I didn't know, I did. Different. It's just, it's so fucked up. He's just like, well, if he can steal jokes, who the fuck else can? Like I've had a bunch of nobodies steal my fucking jokes, and then like if I call them out, like we both know somebody who called out a joke thief who's like all of a sudden a pariah. That's what made him a pariah, not him. Because like when you play nice with Ty, he plays nice back. He's not a fucking conniving little bitch, and that's what I love about Ty. And then I've heard these stories like, oh, it's Ty. He's hard to work with. He's a dick. Or I read comments like that, and I'm just like, Ty just doesn't respect you then because Ty, and also Ty gives everybody a chance. He doesn't give a fuck if you're an open micer or you just started 3 weeks ago, or if you're thinking about starting, or if you never even thought about starting. It's just like he's very fair and balanced, and will give you a chance because, like, I know that Ty, he hasn't said it specifically, but I mean, like, I associate him being like really gay and me being really fat, and like like who's accepted and who's not accepted. Like I could just see them like, no, we don't want Ty on our team. He can't, like, I don't know. I'm just saying Ty probably would beat the fuck out of Ty can still beat the fuck out of me now. But like in high school, yeah, I love Ty very much. But I don't know. I just feel like, like gay people get a fucking bad rap just for being gay, especially in the Latino heritage. It's just like, oh, don't hang out with the gay guy because then you're going to be gay, bro. It's like, dude, this isn't heroin where you turn into a heroin addict. This is actually like, when you hang out with people that are like gay and you're confident with your sexuality. I mean, if you two have a connection and you two hit it off, that's nothing. I mean, maybe that's why you're so homophobic, because you were scared that it was going to work out, and then it worked out. And I don't know what to tell these people.
I've never been a lesbian, which is weird because I'm from Portland. But the thing is,
oh my god, that's so fucking funny.
but
dude. But
I'll tell you, there's only one person on the planet who could turn me into a lesbian, and I do. I have a crush, a girl crush. J-Lo could turn me into a lesbian like that if she.
Jennifer Lopez. Jesus, I love the way that you're actually genuinely smiling about that, because it's like that means that, yeah, I would love that. And you're thinking about what exactly you would do with her, lesbian wise, which is pretty cool because you already have a plan. And
well, she's been, as soon as this Ben Affleck thing is over, she might get so hard
up. So you're saying there's still hope? No, I'm just kidding. No, there's still hope no matter what, regardless of her marital status. You could always kidnap her and then she'll fall in love. Stockholm syndrome. I'm just kidding. For anyone at home watching with Stockholm syndrome, I'd like to apologize on behalf of this broadcast. But don't edit that out. You're like, we don't edit shit. We're live, baby. It's
you want me to read your introduction so that people? Sure. Okay, here we go.
Sorry.
No, we had fun. We're doing it organically.
10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Intro, 10 minutes.
It's kind of like sex. So.
Oh my god. Oh yeah, I like this. I like how we didn't have dinner first. That's the best. But now I'm starving. Let's fucking eat some food. I love these fucking food metaphors. So
Victor Pacheco is larger than life and larger than most comedians. Yet he brings an unmatched energy to the stage and consistently comes through with real life funny stories and observations. Mr. Pacheco's personal experience as an educator, married man, and wild lifestyle entertains audiences across the West Coast. Vic's quick wit, exceptional one-liners, and warm personality have made him a favorite at comedy clubs, colleges, and theaters. Victor Pacheco has worked alongside nationally touring titans of the industry, including Paul Rodriguez, John Witherspoon, Jay Moore, Big J Okerson, Josh Wolf, and most recently, the great Pablo Francisco. That was the one that painted the Sistine Chapel, in case you don't know, all you millennials. Victor performs for veterans of foreign wars. Oh, hell, we got to talk. And takes pride in delighting the troops domestically. I like the way that sounds. They're my GI spot.
Well, I mean, if I don't say that, it makes it sound like, they fly me out to Japan and they fly me out to, like, all the bases around the world, or like maybe they're putting me in the hot spot right now. They're like, oh, I'll go. It's like, good afternoon, Ukraine. I'm just fucking with you. They'll probably be like, who the fuck is this thing? What the fuck is this thing? As to, be the most gender fluid as possible. I always thought gender fluid was all that stuff that happened after sex. I thought that was gender fluid.
I always thought you put it inside the hood of your car.
That's good. Right next to the windshield wiper fluid.
And right next to the AC/DC or something.
Oh, dude, that's great. I love AC/DC. When you can't get cocaine in the morning, just put on AC/DC. What could go wrong besides people looking at you because you're singing along and fucking just headbanging like a maniac and, just rattling around the last 5 brain cells you have left, according to the people that watch. No, not you personally, the universal you, Linda. No, it was fucked up. I was like, fuck. I almost interrupted you while you read that intro because I was like,
I know.
No, it sounded like you had a gun like forced up to the back of your head. I was like, read this intro right now. Victor Pacheco is a large yet energetic comedian. Louder! No, just so of course it's just like, okay, how can I ransom and kidnap this woman, or at least scare her like I've done on the Zooms? Like, how are we gonna do this? It's like my NSA agent's like, hey Carl, come check this out. This guy's gonna go ballistic. Anyway, but
when I was in the military, I qualified as a sharpshooter with the 45 on the rifle range.
Oh shit, that's scary.
And I would have qualified with the 38, but I didn't let the instructor go to second base twice.
Wow. I thought you meant that literally, and I was just like, second base? Really? Over a fucking baseball game? She's talking about sex. Oh, damn. Jesus. I don't know. I feel like I would never want to be part of a hand job with anybody who's part of the military, because I'd be scared they'd be done. And before I was done, they'd just be screaming at my cock like it's a boot camp. And I don't need that to have a negative attention.
They'll take your cock and go, you're left, you're right, you're left, right,
left. I don't know, but I've been told this cock cheese, there's a lot of mold. All right, 1, 2. So you're just like, hey, asshole, that's insensitive. My buddy died during fucking drill practice, you prick. I'm just like, that'd be me. I'd be the fucking asshole that died during practice. Like, I was a major fat fuck. I've always been a major fat fuck, but in high school specifically, I was a major fat fuck. And there was this dude who was an even bigger fat fuck than me. And like, we're all like, dude, you and that guy gotta go up. You and that guy gotta go up. You and that guy gotta go up against one another. Dude, you guys, oh man, it's like 2 sumos. And I'm like, you piece of shit. And he was like, he dwarfed me. And so we never got the chance to go head up because this fat fuck broke his knee stretching during his first day of practice. How much of a sloppy fat fuck you gotta be to break your fucking knee during the first practice he was like 2 weeks late. We're like, this fucker's lucky he didn't have to do double days where you come in twice a day and condition twice a day and like you're like literally like dying. You're like, I don't know how I'm gonna wake up and do this. I have no idea. You just have to get through it for 2 weeks. This fucker didn't even do that. It's like, wow, that would have been scary if he would have showed up the first day like everybody else, and he would have just broke his knee on the first day. It's like, wow, this is a dangerous sport. Like, not really. If you're like 500 pounds, it's dangerous to yourself. But like, there should be a weight limit. There should be like a height limit, just like in Pop Warner. In high school, it's just like this fucking 500 megalodon. Just comes out of nowhere, and it's just like, damn, this is like scary. But I mean, they're definitely carrying the team. It's like you put a fucking football on a blob, and that blob is not going to get taken down. Or if it does, they're going to get taken down every like 15, 20 yards, and that's the first down every time. So they're like, cool. We're going to be cheap and, utilize this asshole who's going to get hit in the cranium and then die prematurely because of CTE. But who cares? Because they won the big game. Yeah. So
he ran the football into the other person's goalpost, but who cares?
dude, yeah, I know. They didn't do anything. Those fucking jerks. But yeah.
You want me to finish your intro or just skip it?
Nah, we're great. That was like, you gave the people what they needed. That was enough. They were just like, no, it's just like regular, the San Jose Improv, boom. I think that was it. And that's noteworthy. And I'm just like, I should put that first. Should I put that first? No. Just put that at the end.
Do it.
I don't know. I have no idea what to do anymore. I'm just like, so one person will tell you this, another person will tell you that. And then it's just like, okay, who gets more work? Who's the funnier comic? Who's been doing it longer? Like all these questions arise when I take their expertise, because like somebody fucking told me, and I was like, our friend Ty, I was like, yeah, I did a show, da da da, and then this da 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 said, and then he's all like, da da da, and I was like, da da da. He's like, da da da. Is this person da 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 da? And I'm like, yeah. And then like married to blah blah blah, and and then Ty's like, I didn't know she was married, and I was just like, oh okay. And then like it's just like I was just like, oh well, this person offered me advice, but it turns out they've been doing it for like 5 years. It's like I had a great set, and then she comes up to me, she's like, hey, you know how you can make it better? And then it was like just gibberish nonsense. I'm drunk. I'm doing a 5-minute guest spot, so I don't even have to be sober type of fucking like, and it was nothing. I was like, Ty, and then this person told me that fucking like I needed to do this, and I told him exactly what she said. And then Ty's are like, listen, so and so's cool, but they're not give you practical advice cool. And I was just like, what do you mean? It's just like, you have to be careful about who you take advice from and who you listen to, because there's some people out there that don't even know what the fuck they're doing themselves. They're getting lucky because of whatever reasons. They got a certain connection, a certain network, like, and it's so fucked up. I was explaining this the other day to somebody. It's like, you get further at a party doing cocaine with some comedians than you do actually being funny on stage. And it's horrible because it's like, you go out of your way to kill it. You go out of your way to like, you've been working at this for years. You've been doing everything you can to get the opportunities that you do. And then it's just like, oh, fuck, well, fucking Cokie McGee over here could get fucking more gigs than me because they're better hanged than me. And it's like, I can't even hang out doing cocaine with these people because I look like a liability. Like, oh, we can't do cocaine with Victor. Victor's gonna have a heart attack. He's a fat fuck. He doesn't take care of himself. So if he does coke with us, he's gonna die. We can't have Victor with us. Like, we cannot do coke with Victor. But if they were able to do coke with Victor, I'd be like a lot further with stand up at certain comedy clubs. And so it's so fucked up because it's like the hang sometimes defines you more than what you actually do on stage. Because I know some comics who are horrible, who get a lot of great opportunities. I'm like, how the fuck are they even like asked to do any of this shit? Oh, they're friends with the fucking producer or the showrunner or the talent coordinator, and it's just like, but you're awful, awful. And it's like, I'm not even jealous. It's more like, I'm just like, is the club hiring you knowing that you're a weak comic who can remember like all the announcements, but like they hire you so you make the headliner look like Jesus Christ? Because it feels like that. Like in comparison, it's like, compared to this shittiness, this, like, I don't know, like I did the show the other day. One of my good friends, we did the same exact show. Everybody died except he got the most laughs. but out of 1 out of 10, it was a solid 7. It wasn't an 8. It wasn't a 6. It was a fucking 7. It was like, average. It was good. It was, barely good. It was barely good, for like satisfying the crowd. Like, but that crowd was like never going to be satisfied. So he murdered. He murdered in that room. But in reality, he just had a good set. And that's so he kept talking about how he killed it. And I was like, Keith, you had a great set compared to everybody else. But overall in all, it was an okay to decent set that was definitely acceptable. But like, yes, for that room and compared to everybody else, you killed it. Like I had just done like a really big show. Like I had just done a 300 seater. I mean, there was 300 people at the Laugh Factory in Long Beach, and Ty got me on that show, and I was like hella nervous because Ty wasn't there, and I could just hear the voice in the back of my head being like, "Ah, I used to talk to Victor, but then he started bombing after I recommended him." So yeah, I don't fuck with Victor. 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 And then I'm like, I've been trying to call Ty the last 2 weeks to see how he's doing with his hernia surgery, and like he hasn't picked up my calls, and I'm like, oh fuck, Ty fucking hates me. Oh my god, what happened? But then he started laugh reacting to some of my posts recently, and I was like, oh okay, well to one specifically, and I was like, oh thank God. Or maybe he hates me, but he still thinks I'm funny, which is still very admirable. Like, if you're gonna hate me, like, please, I don't know. It's so funny. Like when you break up with comics, like it's just like I don't know about you. You're probably sweet, sweet, sweet person, but I'm
Oh
not.
no, oh no. Because like if somebody fucks with me, I fuck back.
Oh, I love it when people fuck back. That means you got some fire in your belly. But no, I'm just kidding. I hate when people fuck with me. But like if I'm fucking with them and they're fucking with me back, that's like, yeah, that's good. But yeah, I don't take no shit. And no, but like we're cool as fuck. But I know he's busy. I know it's like, it's just like I think he's probably calling. If he probably thinks I'm calling him to complain, he's like, I don't need that negativity in my life right now. But I have time for that negativity in my life. I'll call him back. But I'm not gonna, maybe I don't know, but maybe I'm reading wrong. It's like the name of this episode is like Ty, Victor's secret crush, and it's just like not so secret crush. There we go. Nah, just kidding. No, because I talk about Ty to my wife, and we both went to a wedding together, and we were both guests, and like he came up and introduced himself. He's the sweetest heart. I was like, this is Big Bad Ty. This is Big Bad Ty. This little fucking sweetheart over here being all fucking full of manners. This sweetheart over here is a fucking bad. Okay, I'm calling bullshit. Some people like I don't know, like because I heard that I'm mean and I'm a dick from some San Francisco comics because I scared the shit out of some fucking dude at his open mic because like it was like a part of a comedy college, and like it's like comedy coaching is one thing, but comedy colleges is like let's get a bunch of doofuses together and brainwash them all at the same time with shit that they're gonna learn in comedy in the first fucking like 2 weeks. Like let's like I don't know. It's like to me that's dumb. It's like the coaching. It's like, hey, do you coach? Like you know what I mean? Like if you find somebody who you like who's good or whatever, like they'll tell you the truth. It's so funny though because like I never paid time. I mean, I was encouraging him to start charging people for the shit that he was doing because I was like, hey Ty, I'm really self-conscious about this shit. It's like hard for me to get bookings. Can you please watch this video I've been sending people? Like, can you please tell me? And he's like, yeah, I can, but I can't do it until tonight, until I'm done sending out. It was when he was reporting that live stream. Then he ended up like sending like the link or whatever to people after the fact or whatever because they couldn't do it live. But anyway, it was like totally unedited, and it was around that time. But yeah, dude, I was like he was sending out invitations to that thing, and I was just like, okay, well, whenever you got time to watch that video, and I'm like, and then part of me is like, oh God, why did I ask him? Why did I ask him? And then so like he got back to me like at 2:43 in the morning of all, and I was still up, of course, or it was like 3:47, something ridiculous. It was ridiculous, and he's like, hey man, I just watched your video, and I know that fucker was just waiting for me to fucking click it and be like, and. And I'm like, and what's up? And he's like, dude, I gotta tell you, man, like, I usually have notes for people. I had zero notes. That was really funny. I was watching it. Like, dude, I watched so many shitty fucking videos with submissions to my festival. I watched so many shitty videos that people post online. I watched so much shitty shit. That was actually funny. Then like I almost started crying. Like I was just like, dude, you're a beast. Like I've known who you are since like before I started stand up. So like to have somebody of his level be like, hey, that was a funny video. I'm like, okay, good. So anybody who says it wasn't funny can suck my dick and Ty's dick. Um, I'm just like, yeah, it's a Ty's dick. Yeah, yeah. I'm just like, it's so immature. I'm just like, I'm not proud of anything in the world, but I mean, just to get the validation of somebody, it's like, I'm not, I mean, in the sense that like in comedians we're all peers, but as far as like peers on the same level, not on the same level as Ty. But Ty is really generous. I've had ribeye with him at 2 a.m. at the Silver Legacy at Mimi's Cafe that he paid for with his comedy vouchers for the week, and the headliner who like lived close by was like, I'm not using any of these vouchers, so here, you can have them too. So we got all these, dude, like we just left cash tips, and it was fucking like amazing. I was like, dude, we're eating. It's Reno, and I wasn't supposed. Dude, I hit up like 24 people from like 6 o'clock in the morning until like I don't know, like 6 p.m. And I just gave up. I was like, I'm not getting up anywhere. The two biggest spots to get up is Laugh Factory Reno and then the Reno Tahoe. And then so I was able to get a guest spot at both places, and I was able to get a guest spot at the Laugh Factory in Reno because of Ty, because he vouched for me. And I was like, dude, because he didn't even know who the fuck I was as far as like being funny on stage. He knew who I was as a person, but then like he literally, and he told me after the fact, after it all worked out, he's like, I called up Chris Storin to ask if you were funny, and he vouched for you. That's the only reason why I vouched for you, because Storin vouched for you. And I was like, oh, this is sounding kind of mafioso. Like, hey, listen up, kid. If you don't have a good set, I'm gonna break your fucking neck. Even though you got no neck, you capisce, you fucking no neck bastard. So I'm just kidding. Even though Ty's not an old school mafioso, it's like I kind of felt like I'll break your fucking kneecaps. You ain't funny. You make me put my neck on the line for your no neck ass. Okay, I got to do some other shit besides the no neck. But at any rate, it's like no. So I was just like, oh shit, this guy I know from TV is now somebody who's vouching for me, who's never seen me perform, so I cannot die. But I know I did a good job because it was a 5-minute guest spot, and I didn't get the light till 5. No, I'm sorry, till 6. So like the guy either was liking me or whatever. It was like a good set, and I was like, all right, guys, I got to get out of here. There was a bunch of, oh no, don't leave. So I was like, fuck, this is great. And then the manager was like looking for me to try to get me work. I was like, dude, I would love to get in at Laugh Factory. And then the pandemic happened. And I was just like, I will drive back to Reno right now to talk to the manager in person, like if I have to. Because I was living in Oakland at the time. I'm like, it's a 4-hour drive. It's going to be for my future. If I could get in with like Harry Basil, and he's the main booker for that. Like, and I don't know him at all. And like, Ty's helping me get work in LA. And again, but I sent him that video that he saw. I was like, Ty, this is right before the pandemic. This was like, honestly, like 1 month before the pandemic. Or 1.5 months if you want to be a dick about it. But actually, technically, it's 2 months. Anyway, who cares? It's like, sorry, my ADD's like off the rails right now. It's just like, yeah. But what's it called? Yeah, I was just scared. I get scared about everything. I think every fucking Comedy Tip Tuesday is about me and how I'm fucking up as a comic. I'm like, you said you didn't have any notes, fucker. Why are you making a video about it? Like, okay, none of them have ever hit close to home like that, but sometimes I get worried. Sometimes I'm watching them, I'm like, oh God, I hope he doesn't talk about me. And then like my other part of my brain's like, why the fuck would he talk about you when he's talking about these guys that are poisonous to the scene? I'm like, oh, well, maybe he might think that you're poisonous to the scene because, you're not doing anything positive for the scene. But it's like, dude, you're not doing anything negative either. You're not in that scene, you dick. Why do you have to be? Why does everything have to be about you? And I'm like, wow, I guess I'm gonna suffer from some form of narcissism.
You need to act that out with the logical person on this shoulder and illogical on that shoulder. Like
That's a great idea, actually.
So people haven't done that for a long time.
We're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring it back. We should have like a variety show and do shit from like the 60s and the 70s.
And
But then
the young people wouldn't know that we stole it.
I wish I could remember who it was. It was somebody within my first 3 months of stand-up told me, yeah, all you got to do is watch 80s comedy and just steal their jokes and just pass them off as your own.
I know somebody that does that.
Wow, you should like expose them and fucking just distance yourself from those people. Even if you started with them, there's like you have no I don't know, obligation to hang out with anybody. If you want to be a lone wolf, be a lone wolf. If you want to be part of the pack, be part of the pack. But as far as like getting far, like you gotta just be like, I don't know, unapologetic about it. It's so shitty. It's like
my favorite thing for me to get out of Ty is the response from him after I tell a joke where he says, I hate you. Because that means it was really funny and he wished he would have thought of it.
That's hilarious.
When I get I hate you from Ty, that is just the best.
Yeah, he's pretty good at invoking emotions out of people. Whether they're positive or negative. Thank God for me, it's never been negative. One time Ty called me to check up on me.
Oh.
And I was just like, thanks, dude. Because like I told him some really personal stuff about my health and he hit me back. And then I've hit him up like 3 different times about his hernia. Like, hey, dude, I care. And he's like, no, I'm not calling you back. And I'm like, oh, he probably hates me. Oh, he probably hates me. Then he's like, but then also I know Ty though too. It's like, fuck, does Ty hate me but think I'm still funny though?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, fuck. And that's like, damn, it must be hella funny if he fucking hates me. Still thinks I'm funny. Then I'm like, I don't think that's what the situation is with Ty. Like, I'm just being a little fucking bitch. And then if Ty was here, Ty would call me the F word. And the one that's homophobic. And I'm like, Ty, how the fuck do you get away with saying that, bro? It's just like, it's like the king of trying to start controversy with the words of homophobic jargon. And it's just, oh my God, it's so. I'm like, Ty, you can't say that. I'm like, it's already recorded and you're just in for the ride now. You can't. But even if I'm at the show, I can't yell at Ty. What the fuck? You can't. I don't know. I mean, some people probably telling me, hey, you can't say this, you can't say that. But I mean, who cares? You can say whatever the fuck you want on stage. I mean, sometimes I'm standing backstage, like right before, like I'm doing a show at the San Jose Improv, and like I'm backstage, and I'm like thinking, if I walk out there right now and I go on a rant, a really racist rant, I'm like, yeah, aren't blacks and Jews inferior genetically? Make some noise if you agree. Yeah, beaners are the master race. Make some noise if you like Spicks and Wetback. Yeah, we're taking over fucking Spickelodeon, Spick Madness. You know, Spick and Span. It's just like, it's like, no, we're not doing that. Like, ugh. Anyway, it's just like, okay, what could be the most ridiculous way to present that? Okay, we'll just come up with it.
All right, where did you grow up? What city?
The Bay. Wow, this sounds like very, very specific. Redwood City, San Carlos.
What city?
Redwood City, San Carlos.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's just like in the mid-peninsula.
How many brothers and sisters do you have, Victor?
This kind of sounds like you're trying to get my information so you could like, like be like answering my security questions and shit to break in them. What are you trying to do? Steal $32, Linda? You need $32 that fucking bag?
I'm Jewish.
Yeah, Jews are known for being criminals. They're known for being swindlers. Wait,
Yes.
so you're swindling me? Wow, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy right there. I don't like that. But no, it's okay. No, I do like it because I know what you're doing there. After the fact, I know what you're doing there. You see, I knew all along. It's like my sister-in-law, my wife's twin. My wife has a twin sister, and
I have a twin brother.
Wow, really? That's cool. Who's the evil one?
Depends on which year you're talking about.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He was a brat all the way up until he almost died from cirrhosis of the liver, and now he's an angel.
Jesus, how old was he when he had the cirrhosis problems?
Probably 55.
Oh shit! Thank God. I've heard of people having that problem when they're super young because they've been drinking since they were super young and without water, without food, and so it's just like this is poisoning their ins. I'm like, dude, I'm a fat fuck like druggie, and like I'm just like when I'm like, hey, this person needs to chill out. They are about to die, and it's so fucked up because like sometimes people do die because they do too much, and it's like, fuck, man. My friend Brendan from middle school, he died because like he went to Las Vegas and he was like snorting oxys and taking Xanax and taking muscle relaxers and fucking drinking alcohol and smoking a shit ton of weed. But you know that's not gonna kill you. But you know whatever.
Unless
And
it's laced.
I've never heard of any weed being laced like that kills you. Like I've heard of these rare incidences where there's fentanyl lace in the fucking weed, but that's like deliberately like done to kill somebody. One specific person. I've never heard of that happening on a mass scale.
What
But who the
about
fuck
those
knows?
four? What about those four comics in LA and three of them died?
Yeah, well, that was actually coke. They weren't doing well. I mean, they got
Right.
poisoned because they like, unbeknownst to them, were doing coke, and that was horrible. And that happened at all because it's like that night I actually was assaulted by another comedian that night who like one of those comedians slash producers, and like he told me like you could do a set at $25, but I'm a last minute addition. Everyone else, unbeknownst to me, everyone else is getting paid $50. I'm getting paid $25, to do 10 minutes. It's like whatever, that's cool, thank you, thanks for helping me fill up my calendar type of thing. And so when I'm there like 5 minutes before the show starts, he's like, hey Vic, so what's up? You're gonna host? I was like, I will for $50. I'm not gonna host for 25,
No.
And but everyone's getting paid fucking $50. So I should have been getting paid 75. I should have got paid more than everybody, because like I fucking am doing all the heavy lifting. And not only that, I'm also soliciting for tips where I did a hustler preacher voice, and I'm like, for every dollar you put into the basket, here I will absolve you of your sins. And it's just like I was just like a hustler preacher, and I was like, oh, you only put it in $5. You think you're gonna get your dick sucked after $5? And it's just like oh, I'm just like all time. I'm just spitting all this buffoonery and like just it's just buffoonery. There's no other way to fucking explain it. Just hustler preacher. I'm like, put your hands in the air, just point it towards me and say, I believe this fat Mexican. And everyone's like, I believe this fat Mexican. I believe this fat Mexican. I believe that. It's so funny. It was like the worst game of Simon Says. Um, but it was fun though. It was fun. It was like I like fucking with people. Like I got this like light skinned black chick to like expose her breast, and she was light skinned. She looked white, but like she like had very black features. She just looked really white. And then like when she lifted up her shirt, her nipples were the same color as the rest of her breast meat. And so she had these what I call white girl titties. And but you never see that with Mexican chicks unless they're fucking all dark as fuck, and then their nipples are dark as fuck too. And then kind of the same thing. But on the opposite spectrum, where it's just like super, super light skin, and it's just like, it's like you got like pink nipples. It's like, whoa, those are some white girl titties. So anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to make anyone uncomfortable. But like, what's it called? I told this chick she had white girl titties, and I said that those titties are probably like mood enhancement titties. Like I bet you, like the hornier she gets, the darker they go. So like I bet you when she's like super horny, they're like purple as a motherfucker. And when I said that, she was laughing so hard she turned bright red, and it was so fucking funny. Like everybody laughed hysterically, and it was just like I remember it because like I hadn't done comedy in 5 days because I got injured because I twisted my ankle, and it was my first time back. And they were like, "Yeah, just do like 12 or 15." And then I didn't get the light till what I thought was like 15 minutes in, and then I was like, "Okay, cool, I have like a minute." So I went over like by a minute, and so like instead of doing 2 minutes, I did 3 minutes, and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I was like, I looked at my clock afterwards. I was like, "Oh, so I was only up there for 15. It's cool." She said 12 to 15. It's fine. I only did 3 extra minutes and went over by a minute. But I look at my clock, 25 minutes. And I'm like, fuck. And I was like, there's no way I started that early because I started that as soon as I got on stage. I'm recording it, You can hear the tour from Victor Pacheco or oh, for Victor Pacheco. Oh, woo! from the beginning. And it's just like, oh fuck, I did 25 minutes. Damn it. I went over by 10 minutes, but they didn't give me the light until like, I only went over 1 minute from that light. But I really went over 10 minutes and I'm like, fuck, that's horrible. Like I guess I'm a habitual going over the line, going over the light, not like by too much. I'm not trying to be disrespectful because I did have a brain injury fairly
Me
recently.
too.
That's horrible. And so no, my timing's fucked up. I haven't gotten my timing for how long it's gonna take. I mean, my like calling how long it's been. Like, has it been a minute, half a minute, a quarter of a minute? Like, how many jokes have I said? How long was each joke? And it's just like it's harder to do that in my head, like how I used to be able to do it. It used to be like a fucking calculator in my head. Like it's just like all the pieces fit, and I'm like, okay, cool. This is almost a 15-minute set. Okay, cool. This is almost 25-minute set. Oh, cool. This is a 30-minute set. Like, it's just like, fuck, I'm having trouble doing that right now. And I'm like, if I add these 3 stories and I add a bunch of these one-liners and mix them into these stories, how much time do I have? And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, with that same formula, you can make your whole all your routines you have, all your punchlines you have, you can reduce that to like, I don't know, like fucking like 10 3-minute sets of just fucking great punchlines. And I don't know. It's so funny though, because it's like, fuck, it's like, oh, I don't want to burn all my punchlines like that. I was like, yeah, you do if you're doing an audition for 3 minutes. And so you want to say as many punchlines as possible. I was doing this comedy competition the other day. It's just for that day, like open mic at the Laugh Factory, and like everybody was clean. You're supposed to be clean. And there's 20 performers doing 2 minutes each. And out of those 20 performers, I was one of 4. Out of the 20, there's only 4 people out of 20 who did not curse. So out of the 4 of us who did not curse, only 4 of us were eligible for the set of the night. And unfortunately, the guy who won that night, he was funny. I'll give him that. But the whole, I went to the gay club with my gay friend just to show support. And I thought all these guys were going to be crawling all over me. And man, could you believe no one crawled all over me? It's like, I've heard that story a billion fucking times. A billion. It's just like, you're expecting them to be a certain way. And it's just like, I don't know, not to compare myself with other comics, but at least the gay story, at least the story I tell about gay people, it's flattering for gay people. It's like, I'm not using gay people as like, da 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 da, gay, da 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 da, homo, da 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 da. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm not doing anything like that because that's just destructive. It's just more like, I didn't know that
You
I was
say
somebody's
that
type.
for the Jews.
No, well, the Jews could get away with it. I've always said, because like Jews have always told me, we're not white. We're not white. And I'm like, hey, Jews are so white that white people hate you guys. That's how white you guys are. Fucking, I mean, that's always been my theory. Like, why do white people hate Jews? You guys are all white. All right. Like no, because I've heard of white people hating Jews. And I'm just like, why do white people hate Jews? And it's just like, oh yeah, they're gonna get the bloodline. And I'm like, bloodline? You're fucking what?
Are you like Catholic or Christian?
I mean, that's a hard word to throw around. You're just like, are you pedophile or pedophile light?
Or like
It's
they
just
asked me in the military, are you a lesbian or a nymphomaniac? And I'm like, you can't be
Jesus.
both.
Yeah, being a nympho would involve being a lesbian at some time to time. Sometimes you want to talk into a banana, sometimes you want to talk to a clam. It just depends on how you're feeling. But
Either way, they get thirsty.
yeah, you need to water them and other subliminal things from the ocean. Yeah, you have to like not explore 95% of it. Nice. Just like the ocean. Oh my God. Yeah,
We
dude.
could go on and on and on. Where would you like to perform before you die?
And
what's your social security number?
Okay, my social security number is 725 87 2712. Don't ask me to repeat that. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just gave random numbers. Wait, what was the question? I was just like, hold on, I need to stick to the bit. Let me stick
What's
to
the
the.
one venue you have to perform at before you die?
Okay, so like my ex who broke my heart, I want to perform inside of her heart. I'm
Inside
just
of what?
kidding. Her heart, her
Ah,
heart. No, I'm just kidding. I just meant like I literally want to build a stage and like chop her up and I'm just kidding. No, I don't have any. I don't have any exes like that. Like, oh man, I hate my ex so much. We're gonna talk about it right now, and it's just like, dude, we're having a good conversation. Why would you bring that shit up? It's like when you get drunk with the homies, you get drunk with somebody, someone gets too drunk, and they start telling you about every single problem they have, and it's just like, dude, did not sign up for this. I just signed up to get fucked up because I have my own problems. I don't want to hear yours. I am getting so numb right now from drinking so much that I don't want to think about your problems. So fuck you and your shitty ass problems. I don't want to hear about them. I'm done. But no, I mean that's just me. Like I don't know. I keep it real. Like one time I was smoking a joint in front of an open mic. And I was talking to this black dude. Why does it gotta be black? Because he's a big ass black dude. I'm a big ass Mexican dude. So you get the picture. And so like this dude, he walks out from the venue and he comes up to me while I'm mid conversation with this black dude. We're all comics, and he's all like, "Hey Victor, can I hit that joint?" And I hit the joint and I looked right at him and I was like, "Hey Victor, how are you doing today? Isn't this beautiful weather we have today? Isn't this such a gorgeous sky in the air? Hey dude, do you think maybe you could pretend to be my friend next time you ask me for something? Instead of just asking for it because we ain't even that cool." And then the black dudes are like, "Holy shit, that's the realest thing I've ever seen in my life. That looks straight out of a movie from the 70s in New York." And I was just all like, "Nah, dude, that's just me. Like, I'm not gonna fucking let you hit and this is pre-COVID, by the way. And so it's just like you're not gonna hit this just because I've seen you around at open mics, or I've seen you hanging out at the punchline, or I've seen you, I mean, doing a couple of showcases, doing the same garbage set every fucking time, and like doing no adjustments, doing the same exact thing year after year after year after year. I think you realize you came up with this in year one, and you haven't written anything else besides this. And this was horrible then. It's even more horrible now because you're not even excited to tell it anymore. At least you're excited then, but now it's like even more of a pile of horse shit than it was prior. Again, yeah, I don't know. That's just me personally. That's how I see it. I
so,
mean, like,
so you're saying that you want to play Madison Square Garden before you die?
Um, oh yeah, Jesus Christ! I straight a politician that question. And you see, last Tuesday was a very trivial day for my friend. I'm just kidding.
I'm not going to get a straight answer out of you.
No, no. I mean, that's a good question. Like, I don't know. Like, I would like to recreate. Like, I guess the only time I got a standing ovation, and that would be like a bunch of rowdy Mexicans in Salinas at the Fox Theater, because that was like people are like, "Oh, I got passed to this club, I got passed to that club," and I've been passed at clubs, and I am passed at clubs, and like not a lot, but it's like it's a great feeling. But I mean, the best feeling I've ever had was like performing for like must have been like 450 or 500 Mexicans, not Latinos, not Chicano, Mexicans, like straight up like I was like, okay, I've never done some of these jokes before, but I've told these jokes off stage to people that are Hispanic or that speak Spanish. And so I'm going to do these Spanglish jokes where I'm pretty much like cussing out a kid and telling him to fuck off and like using hand gestures that the kid used on me. And like, so I got a standing ovation and like I got like fucking like 20 drinks that night and they were all doubles. So I drank like fucking like at minimum 40. Some of those were triples. I was fucked up. Like I killed it so hard. And then like the dude who like brought me there, he was like, "We need to get the fuck out of here." And then on the ride home, he was just like, "Hey, you know the fucking doing comedy in Spanish and doing comedy in Spanish and an English show is hack." I was like, "How's it hack?" He's like, "Dude, because like you're talking about you're doing shit you're not supposed to be doing." I was like, "Dude, I'm sorry, but last time I checked, knowing any language, whether it's the language that you're applying for the job for, or it's like another language or a list of languages, like it's just like knowing languages is a skill set, and if you know how to communicate with them, that's a strong skill set. And if you
Absolutely.
can make them fucking laugh and clap and ha 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 ha, ha, like, then I did a good job because I was able to read that crowd and be like, you know what, this story with all these punchlines and jokes I've never said on stage in front of a live audience with a microphone in my hand, with these words being projected through that microphone. I have never done those jokes. I've only ever done those jokes. I've done those jokes a total of 3 times, and this was like in 2017 or 2018. But like, it was great. And then but that guy on the ride home, like he was supposedly my mentor at the time. He's telling me that that's hack, and I asked like a billion people, and it was like, no, he's just a jealous little bitch that couldn't follow me. It's like, dude, you've been doing it at the time for like 14 years. You should be able to follow a fucking 5-year comic or 4-year comic or whatever. Like, so I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, saying I was a 5-year comic when I was really like a 3.5 or 4-year comic. But I'm like, dude, what I think is funny is sometimes fucking hysterical. And sometimes what I think is funny is really fucking dumb. And no one thinks it's funny except me. And maybe I'm dumb. And every decision I've ever made, regarding what I think is funny has been wrong. And I have to fucking double question myself because of the source. So when,
Yeah.
like, it really depends on who tells you that you're doing a good job or that you're doing a shitty job. If it's just somebody who's like jealous or hasn't accomplished
Yeah.
shit, there's just all these burnout people that have been doing stand-up for like almost 20 years,
For
almost 10 years.
40 years, and they want to burn you out before you get going.
Well, I mean, that's the thing though, because they're so miserable, they want to make you miserable so they can have the power to be toxic and be negative and be just harmful to your development as a comedian, your development as a I don't know, evolving comedian, because you want to evolve. You don't want to just fucking start right here and end at the same level, or even go to sleep at the same level. You want to go to sleep a little bit higher than you were earlier, even if you have to take baby steps, and then eventually you'll see the progress. But like, you can take leaps and bounds, and if you're having like for example, like coaching sessions curtailed to you specifically, even then you're still limited by your experience, because no matter, even if like you get pointed in the right direction, it's still up to you if you're going to utilize them. It's up to you if you're going to utilize them verbatim how you were told, or you're going to make it your own, or how you're going to make it your own, or is like how it was told to you originally more your own than even how you would even put, because like that was written for you in your voice from somebody else. So that's the voice that they see you doing it. So you got to follow through and do it exactly how that voice, they see your voice doing it, because that's what they think is funny. Now, if you try it a billion times and it's not funny, and you try it this other way and it fucking works, then guess what? We all make mistakes. So you know what I mean? It's just like, but I think a good coach would inspire you and make you want to write more, not like tell you, hey, this is not good. Maybe you shouldn't write so much. No, they're never going to tell you that. Like a teacher would never tell you that. A comedy coach would never tell you that, even if they're lazy as fuck. But even then, if they're lazy as fuck, they're not going to have you do writing assignments per se. They're just going to, you know, but like, it just sucks because like, okay, I see you do comedy for like 2 minutes because like I was at a music/comedy festival, and I was like, oh, you guys are down a few comics and you guys are going to end the show early? Forget that stuff. I'm going to just drop a set, but I got to write out my jokes last minute. So I was just like writing out my jokes last minute, getting these AirPods that are not mine synced up with my phone, and just doing all this shit. And to be honest with you, what's so horrible and bittersweet and good for you was that audience, there was like 70 people in that Zoom audience, and that was a better crowd there than for my comedy show at a rap concert.
Wow.
Because the 12 people that were there were like there to sit down at the smaller stage venue that's like on the same property. There was just like no more chairs. So they just sat right there, and they're like, well, our feet hurt, and right now we need to rejuvenate so we can enjoy the rest of the show. And I'm just like, dude, this is such a cock tease, because like I have this joke, I have the beginning to this joke that I just say, man, I'm so glad that live stand-up comedy is back. And that people, that's a forced applause break. That's a forced applause break. Not at that fucking rap concert, because at that rap concert, I was like, man, I'm so glad live stand-up comedy is back. Crickets, crickets. And then, like, even worse, if I'm not mistaken, I was like, can't believe it's back. nothing, nothing, nothing. And then you hear from a distance, like from all the crowd going crazy watching Too Short. I'm literally competing against Too Short. Like,
Oh
it's
my,
like, is this a fucking is this a festival or is this a fucking like suicide note? Because like, oh man, like, and thank God it was like one of those things. I was like, oh, I already got paid. Maybe we should just leave. Nope, honor your time, honor your commitment. And I don't know who didn't go up, but that show ended so early. It ended ridiculously early, suspiciously early. Like, oh no, I ain't gonna do that. Like one of the like good guys in the Bay Area who's been doing comedy for almost 20 years, who's one of Dave Chappelle's regular openers. Like he was telling me on Saturday, because it was a 2-day event. It was a Friday and Saturday, and he was telling me on Saturday. I was asking him, I was like, hey, so how'd that comedy show go into the smaller venue? He's like, bro, everybody who got their laughs earned every single laugh they got.
wow.
And
Wow.
I was all like, that's your nice way of saying, hey there, big fella. This is gonna be a tough one, and you better fucking be ready to not get any laughs or be ready to be appreciative of the laughs that you get. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? Because I saw some people that make that, because there's a level that you reach and like you're a pro comic. But then there's the pro comics that make a living from stand-up comedy. They're working comics. That's their primary form of income, is doing stand-up. So those are working stand-up comics. And like I saw some working stand-up comics fucking struggle. Struggle. I did better than some working comics. I'm not even joking. I mean, I'm
Oh,
not bragging
sure.
either. Not even bragging either, because you watch that set, you're like, bro, you barely got any laughs. I was like, yeah, that joke, that word barely? Well, this other guy got 0 laughs. So I did better than him because
Yes.
I barely got laughs and he got 0 laughs. So
You
that's
want to
how.
hear about my best and worst gig ever? It was both best and worst.
Oh God. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I'm a veteran and I put together comedy shows up in the Northwest in Portland, Vancouver, Oregon City, and also in Manhattan. Well, I got this gig put together to do 1,000 veterans Saturday morning in the rain in a parking lot with no microphones.
Oh, this sounds
Right?
horrible. Uh-oh.
And I was like, oh yeah, and I was going to be the only one, right? Because I was young and stupid in comedy. I started in comedy 8 years ago, and I did this about 5 years ago. And so I was only 3 years in, 1,000 comics, 1,000 veterans. So this guy who's a headliner, a national touring headliner,
Uh-oh.
begs me to do a spot. He's not a veteran, but he's begging me to do a spot. He wanted to be the headliner between him and me. We're opening up a military show. It isn't about comedy. It's about their show. We're just opening it up. So I add him. He wants to go on after me because he's better than me. I made him go up before me, and it must have pissed him off because this is how I know. We were not allowed to say anything not politically correct, right? So
Uh-oh.
he takes the mic and he's starting off the comedy and he goes, I know you're supposed to be politically correct, but, and every top brass person there, all the people with the brass on, turned around and walked out. And then half of the people walked out. By the time he was done and I went up, lost half the people. He walked 500 people.
I feel like I've done a show with this guy.
I'll
Feel
bet
like
you.
I've done a ton of show with this guy. I know a
Really?
bunch of people like that who it feels like they walk 500 people. But you're telling me they literally walked 500 people. That
Literally.
wow.
I
Yeah,
was
well,
so mad. Oh, it was so bad.
I can only imagine walking on, because that makes you look bad, especially as a show organizer. Like, why did you have that garbage ass dude up on the show? It's just like, oh well, he's usually really good. He probably freaked out seeing as many people. I'm so sorry. And then it's like, oh, that's okay, sweetie. And it's just like, no more comedy show. It got
Exactly.
canceled. I was at a show and like it was a beautiful fucking show at this, like it was like a winery slash wine bar, but don't get the wrong idea. They weren't snobby. They were actually really supportive. Oh shit. It was in Santa Rosa. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it sounds different, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yo, well, I was in Santa Rosa. I got excited and I pulled out my cord. Let me see if I can put it back in really quick.
Every time I'm with a guy and they get excited, they pull out.
You just have that type of charm to you.
They
Um, yeah, no, I'm just
think I
kidding.
can
No,
have a baby still.
well, that's a compliment. That's a compliment. No, I'm just kidding. I forgot what I was talking about. Something
Me
about
too.
dude. Yeah, no. What's it called? What was I talking?
You were
Oh
coming
yeah, but
back about, we were talking about the worst show and people politically correct, doing whatever they want, getting kicked out. Does that help?
no, because now I want to go on like three different tangents.
Do
What's
you
it
think
called?
in like 3 or 4 directions at once?
Yeah. It's but they're all going in different directions and they're all time consuming and sometimes they don't have anything to do with each other. But sometimes like three of them will have everything to do with everything. Like as far as like, okay, booking requests, booking a show, getting headshots, getting a new flyer going, doing all this. That's like, okay, all that's technically one thing, but I just named like three things at least. And then like, I'm like, oh, fuck. But like, those are all like different things. But like, if I message a comic and then we get caught up in conversation, then all of a sudden I'm delayed. Like, oh, what the fuck happened with my time? It's like, oh, you were bullshitting with so and so for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, but that was cool. I haven't talked to that person in a long time. And then it's just like another part of me is like, oh yeah, that's because you weren't booking any shows. Of course, I haven't talked to you. And I'm just like,
I would
oh,
think I would think on stage, if you can multitask in your head, that you'd be really quick on your feet in order to switch up your material or really spin everything farther than other comics because you can think, oh, and I could do this and I could do that. You were doing that for me when we first started. You were giving me thoughts of ways to spin stuff. And I think that makes you ahead of your competition.
being quicker with your jokes and your responses and your reactions, and being convincing and confident and conniving, like would be like I don't know because no matter what, like I don't know if conniving maybe has a negative connotation or whatever, but like you're really devious when you're on stage because you're like, oh, look at little innocent old me telling you about the story. Now let me throw you to the wolves because here's the funny part. And that's pretty much what we're doing. It's like we're deceiving people. We're deceptive. But it's just like who could do it the best? Who could be the most charming? Who could be the most monotone? Who could be the most animated? Who could be the most, there's different things. It's so funny because it's like, oh yeah, I don't like that person. They got low energy. Well, some people need to have low energy because that's what makes it funny. It's just like with some comics that talk really fast or really loud. It's like if they were to talk really slow and really soft, they'd be a different fucking comic. They wouldn't have the same. They wouldn't be able to tell the same range of jokes that they're telling now. You have to go with what your strengths are, and so it's I don't, like for example, like I have a deviated septum from poor decisions I made in my 20s and late teens, I should say, late teens and early 20s, and so I have a deviated septum. But as a result of that, I know I can make elephant sounds, and so
You can make what?
elephant sounds of an elephant.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm just like, that's just using the back of my throat and my deviated septum in my nose. And like, so I'm like able to like do that vibration. And it's like, um, I use that on stage when describing me and my wife having sex. So, I try to incorporate that into a longer story of me almost getting fired from a Zoom comedy show. The Zoom comedy show you were on recently, I almost got fired from that show. Technically, I almost didn't get fired. I was just really scared I was going to get fired the whole time. So I was like living in fear. So like I was just so scared because like a woman complained about a story I told about choking out my wife during sex. And like, that I made that up, that there's no way that happened and that I'm a liar, blatant liar, that I don't respect women and that you guys are giving them a platform to instill his woman-hating rhetoric, anti-woman. He's very misogynistic. He gets all his ideas about rough sex from watching violent porno, and that was the line that I used for to tell the story about how about that. But like, I just that's not okay. So I added a bunch of stories and made one story, and that's how you get that story. I
Well,
like
I
added
got
like
an idea with the deviated septum and the elephant noise. I've got an idea for you. Do you want
yeah.
an idea?
Yes, go ahead.
You can use it. I don't talk about it. We both have brain injuries. I don't talk about mine on stage.
Oh,
But
mine slipped out recently, but yeah.
so if you could segue into talking about your brain injury and that you qualified for
Mhm.
a service animal, and which animal do you think is perfect as a service animal for memory, for brain injury memory? It would be a pachyderm, and then you could make the elephant noise.
That's hilarious that you said pachyderm instead of elephant. That's
I
very
literally, I literally asked at the VA hospital, Victor. I said, I went up to the MP, the police guy there, veteran police, and I said, I have a brain injury. And he goes, yeah, we heard this before. I said, I have a brain injury, and I was wondering, my doctor said I could have any service animal, so I chose a pachyderm. I'm waiting for his response. And I did this. And I said, so which door do I bring it in? And he told me what door to bring a damn pachyderm in.
Oh my god.
God
Yeah.
damn.
How old were you when that happened? You're like, this was last week. I'm just kidding.
I
Yeah.
did this like 2 years ago in Portland.
Oh my god. Okay, that's still too recently for that to have happened. Like you were like a little girl or something, and it's just like, nope. Parents are saying fucking wacky things. Like my dad, he put in some wet cement, and I was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna go write my initials in the wet cement." And he's all like, "Why don't you go down there and press your monkey paw against it?" And then we both started laughing. I was like, "You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go over there and get on my back and put my knees in the air, and I'm gonna press my balls up against him." And then we both started laughing. And then my mom looked at both of us like we were idiots. And it was just like, "Oh, cool." I haven't gotten a fucking post with like over 10 likes or reactions in a while, so that was good to have like at least like I think 25 haha reactions plus all the other reactions I got. So I was like, that's cool. It's so cool when something happens to you and it's like, oh cool, I could talk about it on stage, and it's really easy to remember because it really happened. And it's like you have to remember how A got to B and got to C, and it's just like fuck. Then
It's
getting back
really funny to make it. It's funny to be on stage and make a contextual error where you screw up the joke, and then you go, that joke would have been a lot funnier if I just said it the right way.
what's
They'll
funny,
laugh. They'll laugh.
yeah. Well, that's because you're being honest. You're being honest that that joke didn't do so hot. So you're admitting that it needs work. You need work. The bit isn't just all the way polished just yet, and it's just like like I have this joke where it's just like there's 70 Long's drugstores left in the entire world, and they're all located in Hawaii. And I know this because I researched it for this joke. And when I say that, people laugh hysterically. And I'm just like, it's like I researched it for this joke, but it's also it's the timing of joke. Like it's like it's so funny. Like for example, like little subtleties, like the way you say fat. If you say fat, people might get offended. But if you say fat sounds kind of funny. So did you just say fat? Fat. Yeah. Like I like I like my ladies to be a little fat. I like them
Okay,
fat.
say Jew funny.
Jew. Jew.
Say
You
say
you got
Ty Rivera funny.
Taya Rivera. It's just a little bit of like the little fucking twang, like it's like a little New Yorkie, a little anti-Semitic, and and I'm just kidding. I wasn't anti-Semitic, but it's just like sometimes when I drop acid, and people ask me while I'm on acid, "Hey, how you doing?" I know I turned into a gay Jewish guy. I'm like, oh, I'm doing marvelous. I'm marvelous, marvelous. Everything is marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. Everything is marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. And I'm just like, wow, this is fucking great. This is gonna kill on stage. And then I'm just like, and then I'm reading my notes the next day. I'm like, marvelous, marvelous. Everything is marvelous. What the fuck does that mean?
Have you
Marvelous.
ever read your notes and you didn't even know what the words were?
I'll do you one better. I was high on acid and I wrote what the formula was to write a joke. And I was like, this is what you have to do to write a joke. And this is the perfect equation. And it says where you start right here, and then you go right here, and then right here, then right here, then right here, and you go right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, right here, 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 here. But no, but from here, right here, the starting point to first, second, third, fourth, and you're done. Like it's a fucking like table and shit. I'm like, okay, that's how you write a joke. That's how you fucking do it. And then I looked at it, right? And so I was high on acid. I was like, I figured it out. Oh my God, I'm a fucking comedy genius. I'm a guru. Like, I know everything about stand up. So I look at it sober the next day and I'm like, you fucking idiot. That's the fucking formula for a callback. You didn't invent callbacks. Are you saying you invented callbacks, you fucking idiot? No, you're not saying you invented callbacks because that's ridiculous. That's like fucking like claiming you invented the question mark or exclamation point. No, you fucking didn't. No, you didn't. Shut up. It's been on a typewriter for fucking centuries. Like, no, you're wrong. You didn't. Nobody alive right now invented the exclamation point. Nobody. No, that's bullshit. I'm calling bluff. I'm calling out everyone's bluff. Sorry. I'm so fucking frustrated. I can't even get the words out correctly. Sorry. In the right order, in the right breath.
I need to wrap it up here, but you have been an absolute trip to deal with. Oh my God, you're crazy as all get out. You're so funny.
Thank you. Fucking A. I'm glad that when I'm crazy and it's funny, it works out. And then when I'm crazy and it doesn't work out, he's just crazy. And like, I don't know, it's fucked up. It's like Andy Kaufman. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm the opposite of Andy Kaufman because he like, does jokes and like, he doesn't have you in on the joke and he makes it like, so you're freaking out. And like, I'm the exact opposite because I'm freaking out because I want to make sure that you're laughing and you're in on the joke. And so I don't know, these escapades that these comics do sometimes are really weird. And like, I don't know, I personally would rather just, get along with everybody and like hang out with like-minded individuals like yourself who cares about stand-up, who cares about like furthering, your voice and, getting it out there with, interviewing fucking weird strangers that happen to be mutual friends through stand-up. And we know we have a bunch of mutual friends who are awesome, who
Yes,
are
we do.
awful, who are just the best people, who are the worst people, who maybe like are the best comics, but are really shitty at time management. But like, and then that reflects poorly because it's like, oh, they don't have their shit together. It's like, well, they don't have their priorities set in place. And so that's why we have a lot of people who are like, I don't know, like the majority of stand-ups can't hold down a regular job. So when you see stand-ups that have regular jobs, you're like, oh, you're not that funny. And so it's so fucked up. I know it's fucked up. It's like, no, you need to have a seasonal job where you're definitely not making overtime, where you definitely don't have any fucking rights, where you're definitely not making any type of 401k, where you're not getting any type of paid overtime, where you're not getting any type of sick pay or accruing any sick pay, or if you're none of that shit. If you have any of that shit, you're a fucking stand-up, you're not funny. I already know it. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know any fucking stand-up comic, rich or famous or not famous, who has like a retirement plan. Everyone's investing in cars and their house and whatever bullshit, but no one's like investing in actual capital for when they reach a certain age because most comics don't even reach a certain age. So, and then, we just lost Gilbert.
I trust somebody that's in Amway. Do you know Amway?
What's that?
You know that where you get in and you get people underneath you and you're all trying to sell soap. It's called Amway. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah.
Multi-level marketing. I
Yeah,
trust people that are in Amway and they were rich before they got into Amway and they're trying to make it look like they got their, SUV from Amway sales when they had it from their, great aunt dying.
trust fund. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, trust fund babies.
Yeah, well, they're definitely babies, that's for sure. But I wish I was a trust fund baby. That'd be cool. I'd be doing
Yeah.
this. I'll be doing this in my mansion on a jumbotron. I'd be like, wait, let me fly you out so we can do this in person. What do you
Any
mean?
now that you graduated from Comic Spot interview number 910,
Ah,
it is.
nah.
It's number 910. You're on the same level as Sinbad.
Wow, that's great. I
So
wish I
that
was as light
that
skinned as Sinbad and as funny as Sinbad and had fans like Sinbad and I was
and
cool like
that means
Sinbad.
and so when you're a graduate of my interview show, listen to my ego. That means that you can come back on. You can come back on every month and plug something you're doing for 5 or 10 minutes.
I would never waste anyone's time plugging anything for more than a minute. Because if I can't sell you in the first fucking 10 seconds, it's done. What the fuck's 5 minutes gonna do? I'm just keeping it real. Like this is how you cock block yourself from ever fucking achieving any level of success by being like, oh, thanks for the platform, but no one wants to hear me. And here's the rest of the podcast.
Are you
But
sure you're not Jewish? That is such a Jewish comment.
I really sometimes think that I died in Vietnam and I came back like for 10 years as like, and then I died as a 10-year-old and then I came back as me. And then because I was born in 85 and I think I died in Vietnam like in 75. I don't know if those dates line up, but
Pretty
like,
close, yeah.
or maybe, but at any rate, but like I was just like, yeah, because I'm like really childish and I'm like stuck at 10 years old. And I'm like wondering if my soul got like stuck as a 10-year-old and from the last life to this life. But I was also because like I'll watch Vietnam documentaries and I'll be like, and it's totally sober. I'll start crying
Me
and
too.
like getting hella scared and being like, oh my God, I was there. I was
I
there.
grew
Like
up with all the war video reels of World War II.
Jesus Christ. Damn, way to date yourself. I would have fucking if you would have said Vietnam War, I would have been like, yeah, girl, I fucking definitely believe you. You're like World War II. Damn.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
my parents came over here from Germany. My dad went through the concentration camps.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Damn. So you're like damn, that's horrible. The
Oh,
concentration camps. I'm glad that he got out. I'm
and
not that. I was like, that's horrible. It's like, yeah, that he's in concentration camp. Like, no, that he got out. He got a this was not part of his brother Hitler's plan. Brother Adolf, not part of his plan. Okay, he escaped. That means the brother Adolf, he failed. And we don't talk about any failures here when we're talking about the great Adolf Hitler. I'm just kidding. I'm just not. I don't think. I think what he did in heinousness was great. That was great heinousness. You know, like he definitely like what a fucking heinous piece of shit. Like, oh my God. And then like people were like, wasn't he right? I'm like, what? Who? Hitler? No, no. Like Jesus Christ. I mean, but also though, but if you are really, really thinking that Jewish people did every bad thing in the entire universe, including starting the plague, as the Jews were falsely accused. It was the witches, the warlocks, and the Jews. I don't know how the Jews have the power to make you sick, but they have the power to bankrupt you. I'm just kidding. But it's just like you're like, okay, this was definitely the last time you're on my show, and we're gonna report you against the anti-Jewish defamation league. And I'm like, damn,
remember
that's legit.
that guy in Wall Street that took off with everybody's money, Madoff?
Yeah,
Not like he's Jewish. Thanks a lot, Madoff. But seriously, how stupid are they that with the name Madoff, they didn't say, I wonder if he's going to make off with my money.
that's hilarious. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw that. But if he would have gone away with it and like, gone full throttle, that would have been the best movie of all time. Madoff with the make off. And it's just like, wow. And then that's where he will be found at the premiere because he has such a huge ego. He has to see the premiere. Fucking prick. But I don't know. Everyone has a huge ego. You're like, yeah, well, now that you did my show, look at my ego. And I'm like, that isn't an ego. That's just like a fucking matter of fact. I'm a fucking boss. I just completed the fucking in the Marcus Smith School of fucking Radio. And so I'm just kidding. This was actually really fun.
They never caught DB Cooper. Remember that guy?
Ha ha. What the fuck? Why would you start a conspiracy theory segment at the end when you're saying we don't have much time, I gotta go? Or was that bullshit so we could talk about conspiracy theories? Because I need to know right now. Because if you just shut me up so we can talk about conspiracy theories, that was really sneaky, and I'll forgive it because we're gonna talk about fucking conspiracy theories. But if you're just fucking like leading me on, okay, boy, we're gonna talk about this, but just for a couple of seconds because we gotta go. We're wrapping it up. We're wrapping it up, boy. Wrapping it up.
I do an impression of DB Cooper. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, this is my DB Cooper. Let me get into character.
Oh
I
my
never
God.
took acting, that won't happen. Okay, here's DB Cooper. Ready? One,
Yeah.
2, 3. You know who gave me that idea?
Oh.
The drunk girl from SNL, Jeff Richards.
That's hilarious. I opened for him not knowing who he was. And it was one of the shittiest gigs I've ever done in my life. It was like one of those times where the venue we run a comedy show at. They're like, what do you think about having special events? I'm like, well, we as the producers would think that it would be really great if you could have us open for these big names and or switch off and have me and the other producer, open up for these big names. Like, we just take turns or whatever, since, we both can't be a part of it type of thing. Then or let's both be a part of it whenever we can, but whatever. Let's just like try to make us money too, is what we're trying to say, and get a stage time. It's like, okay. So I open up for him. It's like, it's so fucked up because like, he's like, his hometown is Walnut Creek. And there was like a shit ton of people there, dude. They didn't laugh at any of my jokes. They didn't laugh at any of my co-producers' jokes. They didn't laugh at any of the features jokes, and they didn't laugh at any of Jeff Richards' jokes. They didn't laugh at all. They just talked through the entire show. It was an awful show. Awful. Awful. And then I'm just like, yeah, so am I still gonna get that $50? I bombed like a man and did my job like a man. So can I get paid like a man? You know what I mean? If I would have been a woman, I would have said woman. But like, it's just like, dude, like, because like, I don't give a fuck. You work like a man, you work like a woman. If you work as a comic, that's one of the hardest jobs on the planet. Not only do you have to public speak, you have to fucking entertain these motherfuckers and make them laugh. And if you don't, then you're not doing your job. And then you could get replaced very easily just for having an off night. Even if you're a bona fide killer and you have one off night, unless you're like a celebrity, like it's unforgivable. As a nobody with no credits, like it's just like, and somebody got pissed off at me, like, dude, quit saying you're a nobody. I'm like, as far as having TV credits go, I'm a nobody. To say anything else would be I don't know, a discredit to everybody who's gotten work and gotten opportunities to be on television.
How come aren't you on television? You're very marketable. You have very marketable looks.
I don't know. I guess probably for the same reason certain comics don't want to do drugs with me, because I look like a liability. It looks like I'm gonna overdose. It looks like I'm gonna fucking die with them on the road or die with them at a hotel room. And they don't want that on them. They don't want to have that reputation. It's like, oh, well, the last time Victor was on the road, he was with this comic and he died. So that would be horrible, even if it's you, Linda. You're like, hey, Victor, let's go on the road. Let's do El Gordo y la Flaca, the fat guy and the skinny woman. Let's do
I gotta die sometime.
No. That was about me. Linda, there's no way you're dying before me. Stop.
I can't think of a better place to die than doing
I've been on the road. On stage or on the road? Because more on stage. No, I'd rather die on stage than on the road. I don't want to die in my car or in your car or in like a bus or fucking, some shitty fucking ride share. Like, I'd rather fucking, I mean, you never get the choice when you're going to fucking die. Holy shit, that fucking comic could come and wipe us out right now. We both died. This only gets published and the aliens see it after the fact. It's just like, yeah, we sent that meteorite over to Earth.
It would be kind of fun to die in the saddle and just come back to see if they've said it on the news.
I think like the biggest thing is going to happen to me right before God sends me to hell. He's just going to make me totally conscious for the aftermath, and he's going to let me see what everybody says. And like, it's going to be like the really nitty gritty of what people think or what they would think if I died. And there's going to be some people I'm like, oh, I wonder what so-and-so thinks about me. And then they're going to be like, oh, I don't even remember him. Like, it's just like, oh shit, damn, that's kind of harsh, God. Why would you let me witness that? Oh, well, this is worse than purgatory. Holy shit, this is hurting my feelings. This is fucked up.
I told you I like to pull practical jokes And my last practical joke, I want to actually be like right on the verge of death at my funeral, but they think I'm dead. And God and I have it timed. And so they think that I'm dead and I'm in the casket and they're crying and the casket opens and I go, one more joke. And I tell the joke.
That's funny, but that'd be so fucking scary if that really happened. If the coffin just popped up, like just one more thing before I get out of here, dude. That is so fucking funny. You know what'd be even funnier if it just opened up and said, "All right, two more jokes, not one more, no, not before I get it, two more jokes."
Okay, God, I see the light.
Yeah, no, they're like, okay, hold on, two more jokes. Then you tell five more jokes. You're like, two more jokes, two more jokes. And it's like it's never two more jokes. Holy shit!
You and I missed our calling. We should have been comics up in the Poconos.
Oh, that's hilarious. Where is the Poconos? That sounds kind of bourgeoisie, like they don't let Mexicans or
No,
non-whites.
it's kind of like in the woods, in little log cabins up in upstate New York on the east
Oh
side.
wow,
And
that's
it's like where Jerry Lewis started. All the old Jews came out of there, and all the New Yorkers go there for vacation, or they used to.
I've had a lot of Jews say that I'm witty, which is like when Pablo Francisco said that I do good voices. I was like, really? You're like the voice guy. So for you to say that, like that, he's like, hey man, your sound effects and your impressions are pretty funny, man. I was like, dude, thanks. That'd be like getting a compliment from like, the fucking hot dog eating champion about how you're really fast at eating.
Pablo
Like,
Francisco's in Vegas, right?
yeah, he's at Caesars.
He lived. I think he lives in these apartments that I live in. Doesn't he
Dude,
live in the Diplomat?
I don't know, but I know Pablo. And if I were to fucking ask him, hey, dude, do you live with a diplomat? And like that to be accurate, he'd be like, how the fuck do you know that? And then he'll get paranoid and fucking think that I have somebody shadowing him. Is he always wearing a baseball hat and glasses?
Yeah.
Fuck, that might be him.
I think he lives here. Somebody told me they call this place Comedy Central because on the other side of this wall is a Miracle, and then you got Jay Hollingsworth, big Jay Irish.
Nice.
You got Drew Landry lives 2 doors away. This is where I met Ty Rivera. Ty Rivera and I came over to meet Ty Rivera, and I fell in love with the apartment complex and moved in.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Fuck it, hey, that's actually really cool that you're able to do that. I mean, like for the most part, like all those comics, I don't know any of them personally, but like I just know them through the flyers and their stories on Instagram and whatnot. But it's so funny, like how everybody cross pollinates and knows everybody. You can't do nothing.
I go to get the mail and I see 2 comedians each time, I
Well,
better let you go.
Oh no, it's all good. Whenever's clever. If you gotta go, you gotta go.
I do. Somebody's coming to pick me up. This gal from Los Angeles, she loves Nikki Carr. Like she kind of got to know Nick. She's not a comic, but she's coming here and we're gonna go over and visit Nikki Carr. Do you know Nikki Carr?
Not personally, but yeah.
Oh my gosh,
awesome.
She's so cool. She's really
nice.
chill,
Well, that's awesome that you're able to hang out like that and just do all this fun stuff. And yeah, I don't want to have you be late for that because that would suck. Being late for that.
You are so amazing. Will you come back?
Thank you.
Really, anytime.
Yeah,
you're so fun. I'd love to have you come back and BS some more anytime you want for another hour and a half.
Ha ha ha. All right. Well, yeah, we'll see what's up with it when our times come together. Then that will be when we do it.
Shoot me in a veil that you have in mind, and I'll see if it's open on my calendar.
Okay, for sure. I'll hit you up then. Thank you.
This was fun.
So much. Thank you for the interview.
You're wonderful. Bye.
All right, you're wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.